We're here. It is so hot. It is so stinking hot. Chaos Origins release event at Duke City. I have my deck in my cute little Kribo box. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, sad news. There's no Chaos Origins to buy. There's no Chaos Origin packs for entry either. So I am kind of sad because I was hoping to open Chaos Origins. Got here early to open boxes. I guess they're out. So still gonna try to win. We'll try not to lose. Try not to lose. Oh my goodness, hi! Welcome back. It's me from the future. Bringing you the game reviews. This was a 5-round. Okay, I thought it was supposed to be a premiere event. Okay, thought it was a premiere event. And then we get there and they're like, it's gonna be $10. We're like, nay. It should be like $23.50 because Konami has like their weird 50-cent protocol. And so they were like, no. And so then it ended up being $15 with 3 packs of glorious gallery for entry. And it was a win-a-box that included a raffle for the playmats, and top 8 would win playmats. And yeah, there was no Chaos Origins to be bought. Okay, if you missed it, because my camera angle on this first game was I'm always apologizing for the camera angle. We're trying our best. You can't really see my graveyard. I drolled. This entire tournament, I would say, was sponsored by Droll. I did not realize how many decks this format died a Droll, including my own. So I know a smidge of Mitsurugi. I played Mitsuyami there for a small time. And yeah, so they went search off of, I believe that's Armasa. And I was like, yeah. Okay, on Res Droll, and they had nothing to do about it. I did learn I don't know if it's new. I kind of learned a strategy to play around Droll, quote unquote, with this tournament, because I was drolling people. People were drolling me. I think in general, though, specifically Fairy Tail, Mitsu, I think even Doom Z. I'm trying to think what else I played that like kind of dies to Droll. Oh, I played against a DDD deck, which I still don't know what that does. Yeah, I think Droll is really good this format, and I think playing around Droll just means doing stuff in the draw and standby phase, but that's not always an option, especially for, like Fairy Tail. What am I gonna do? I will say prayers and draw. They're in draw and standby. There you go. That's how you can kind of work around Droll a little bit. I think the only deck that I know of this format for sure that Droll doesn't really impact is Elf Note, because they place everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, like they do like Lucina searches, but other than Lucina searching, I think everything else places. So anyway, I Drolled them, and then I went full combo. So I was able to get out. They didn't have the stop. I will say people are evolving. I think people have been playing against Wiccat and Luna and Teller and Weaver and all my Fairy Tail stuff long enough that I did feel I could tell when someone knew what I was doing, because they would wait for the choke points. So I'm sorry for all my other fellow Fairy Tail Magistus people that I'm not keeping it a secret of kind of how you can try to beat us. But Wiccat's a choke point because it's one monster on field, sending 2, it detaches for cost. There's still ways to work around it. There's if you detach the Match Girl, and as long as the Wiccat stays out, you can summon the Match Girl from grave, because the Wiccat's an 1850. But yeah, unfortunately for my opponent in, game 1 of match 1, I Drolled them, and they popped one of my monsters, but I had the follow-up, and unless you have, that's the other thing I learned this tournament is I feel like so much of tournament play is just like, you know what, here's hoping they don't draw the Ash or the Droll. They didn't draw the Ash or the Droll. So game 1, they ended up being like, let's scoop it up, because it was kind of one of those things of like either, oh, also I should note that I went second game 1. So I was pretty proud of myself, because losing the dice roll, I was like, I fully expect to lose this game, and then I'll go first game 2 and then hopefully push it to a game 3. I think my opponent realized that they're like, this might end up going to a game 3 because they're going to go first. And, as long as I don't have the Droll there's a pretty good chance they're going to be able to full combo with Mitsu. So in the draw, I do Fua, I believe, and then they chain Shifter. So I have not even attempted to play Fairy Tale Magistus under Shifter. Is that a Fua or a Perulia? Oh, I Perulia because I sided in. I do want to talk about my current deck with Fairy Tale Magistus. I have made changes. I have been trying to side. I don't really side when I'm playing casually. I think it's something I should be doing more just to try to practice. My side for this one was super funny. I actually should talk about what my side was because I was borrowing my boyfriend's Solemn Accusations in the side, and then we get to the event. He was fully planning on opening enough boxes to play Chess Elf Note, so his deck was proxies. His deck was proxies. Oh yeah, and then I am able to Fua as well. So I Perulia'd. They changed Shifter. Later in the combo, I did Fua because I believe I got the Fua draw off of the Perulia. So yeah, anyway, they didn't have any boxes to buy, so we all banded together to try to help him create a deck that was just pure Elf Note. Prior to this, he'd been playing like an Elf Note branded version, but the Fallen and the Virtuous cards are in my Blitzclick deck. So, I was like, hey, these are your Solemns. Take your Solemns back. And we traded off. So I had a Zaylin the Shackled. I had, I think, and like two other random synchros that I ended up having in my side. But along in my side, I had Perulia. I feel like Perulia is going to be good this format, allegedly. Okay, so turn passes. I'm immediately going to crown one of the Murakumos. So that's great. Luna, normal summon Luna. Again, that's another thing. If you notice whenever I normal summon, that tends to be the time to go all in, and my opponents seem to know that. So they great purification. Sending Murakumo, and then I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna chain Ver, and then they Solemn Accusation that one, and so it's like, well, sick. Okay, so I do have Ball, and then they're like, okay, chain Murakumo that you have to discard in order to resolve it. I mean, the writing was on the wall at this point because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get through anything. So yeah, Ball. Oh, and then we had the conversations. So Ball. Oh, I did learn something new. Okay, that's what happened. Yeah, and I scoop it up. There was nothing to do. That was double Murakumo was an absolute nightmare. And then you can see I had double Ved. So what was I going to do with double Ved? So I made videos about this, y'all, about how continuous spells and field spells, they have to stay on field at resolution. But if you have a field spell or a continuous spell, I believe that it says when this is activated, do the thing, right? So Fairy Tale Ball says when this is activated, search for a Fairy Tale monster. If the activation is negated, then the card goes to grave. And I guess just in my circle of people that I've been playing against, they are negating the activation. So I just autopilot got used to it going to grave whenever anyone chained anything to it. But the reality is that if the effect gets negated, Fairy Tale Ball will still stay. So if Fairy Tale Ball is ashed, for example, if you ash Fairy Tale Ball, then it does not get sent to grave because the effect was negated, the activation was not negated. In my brain, I'm like, no, it goes to grave. So it ends up coming up later in another match, and I ended up asking the judge there, and they agreed with me. They were like, yeah, it would go to grave. I'm going to have to, we'll talk about it when it happens in a later round, because I can't remember if the activation was negated or if it was another situation where it was ashed and then me being, I don't know, if you're my opponent and I want to send it to grave, I guess better for, it allows me to attack directly. So it's one of those things that I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, if I want to send it to grave and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm also arguing about it, I guess just let me do what I'm going to do. So we went to game 3. Spoiler alert, this is in 2 times speed, because if I did all of these videos in 1 time speed, we would be here for 5 hours, and I could probably up for 5 hours, but I'm not trying to. I do think I'll upload the no commentary version, because I got all the videos on my computers, which was a pain in the butt. So I choose to go first, and I activate Spenta. I search Rigatoni. I get drolled. So here, I'm going to spoiler alert it for you. You'll see it later. So I normal Rigatoni, I set 2 and pass. The way that I have kind of been playing around droll since this is by searching Crowley. So, I do end up before I pass. So I set 2, and then I do banish the Spenta to equip the Rigatoni with Varam. It's basically my way of trying to ensure I don't die, because Varam, if you haven't read it, not only does it have it gives whatever it's equipped to the ability to be protected. Yeah, it can't be destroyed by spells, traps, but also has this funny little line that says at the beginning, before damage step, if something's been declared, like let's say you declare an attack into my monster that has the Varam equipped to it, before damage calculation, I get to destroy your monster. So helps me survive. I did droll my opponent. This was the game of drolls. So I did droll them. But yeah, back to how I'm like allegedly playing around droll. It's not the best play around droll, but it's better. I've been searching Crowley, because then Crowley is going to special. And in order for Fairy Tale to function, you need 2 level 4 spellcasters. So, and I got the Super Poly. So Murakumo is going to blow up the board. I get into the Garura because I want to get rid of their stuff. That hand was because my boyfriend was behind me, and he was like, "You genius, you Garura, you're going to get a draw when it goes to grave off the Murakumo." And my opponent was like, "You drolled us." And I was like, "I did." I still stand by the droll. I think I needed to droll. It did allow me to get a turn back, but I have no cards in hand. Do you want to know what I draw? I draw a Super Poly. The heart of the cards was not with me. But yeah, I think had I searched Crowley instead of Rigatoni, that's Riliona. If you're new here, Riliona is known as Rigatoni. And if you're new here, Crowley's bald. These are just the facts that come with being here. And so had I searched Crowley, I could have specialed Crowley. I still would have gotten drolled, and and I believe I did have like I'm trying to think if I had another name in hand, but basically if I have any way of being able to normal summon, right? So then you special your Crowley. I kind of got locked in the idea of like, well, the whole reason that you do the Crowley stuff, that you search him, is because you want to do both effects. You want to special him and you want to fuse. I am no longer running Iwas. That's basically the only Magistus fusion that you can go into without needing like a Xyz fusion, synchro, whatever. So I was running into the issue of Crowley being like, I'm already feeling like I'm not being able to fuse. And then I ran Iwas and I was like, but I don't like, yeah, it's a good fusion card, but so when you are able to special out the Crowley and then normal summon, you at least have a chance to overlay into Wiccat and get your game going. So I do that later. I think it's one of those like having to think outside the box things, because so much of like I get stuck in the idea of like you only search Crowley because you want to use the effective fuse, especially playing into chess where you have only 5 monster effects. Crowley's taking up 2 effects is no bueno. So they passed the turn back. I didn't die. You can see my hand. There's a Super Poly, and I believe I have. What is that? Is that another crown? I think I show it at the end of the video. And my opponent, very nice, because I was, being like, I don't know if I can get through this. And they were like, I'd be shocked. Yeah, I had a Ved. Super Poly and a Ved. So I lost round 1, but we're going to go ahead and go back to past Reina, and she'll tell you a little bit about it.
Wait, lost round 1 to Mitsu.
It is hot, and I'm on Lexapro, and so I had to walk to Target to go get ibuprofen because I have a headache. I think it's a heat headache. It could also be a thinking headache. We went to game 3. He won the dice roll. I won game 1, and then I got shifted game 2, and then game 3 was a double droll, and Heart of the Cards drew me into a second Super Poly. So top 8, like there's gonna top 8 will win some amount of packs and stuff from Chaos Origins, and then the rest will have the opportunity to purchase. So I'll probably end up purchasing packs. 5-round tournament though, so whew. Okay, so we go into round 2, and this game's gonna get cut off. I'm sorry. I have been bringing my like nicer vlogging camera that I use to film at home and been filming on that, but I've realized I need to get something with like any type of external battery, but it dies. It dies. I do end up switching to my phone camera for the rest of the day, and it is fine. So round 2, we are playing Daniel, who is, I think, playing Rockets. So I go ahead and I start off with Spenta, and as you can see, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I searched Crowley, I specialed Crowley, and here's the crazy thing: if you already have Ved in hand, Crowley is a bald Magistus. So he works for Ved. So then I Ved. I go ahead and I send Jenny. Jenny lets me copy Ved. Oh, another thing I learned during this tournament is you cannot Ash Jenny. Because while Ved is special summoning from deck, the effect of Jenny is to copy the effect. So you can't Ash the copy. 2 people told me that was correct, so I'm gonna believe them because that works out in my favor as well. So yeah, you can't Ash Jenny. Just a little note. Okay, choke point time. We go into Wiccat and it gets ashed. Another thing that I have been realizing about my own gameplay is I get very hard stuck on Ash being like the you want to stop the search. And I forget that it also, if you're trying to send cards from deck to grave, we'll do that as well. Okay, so we end up going into game 2. I did win game 1. So I won game 1. I apologize, the camera died, but I won game 1. We go into game 2. Daniel decides to go first. I ended up siding Perulia, and I did Perulia during this game. I did not really get a good read on what the cards, like what his cards were doing. So we had the conversation after where he was like, well, this deck can play around Charmy, around Fua, and it can play around Perulia. So it kind of like depends. So I did end up trying to Fua, and the Fua got called by. So I did the Perulia resolved. The Fua did not resolve. And yeah, we have the conversation around how, I guess, with just during the first game, he had special summoned from hand like a handful of times. And so I was like, oh, Perulia would probably be a good thing to side against this. But yeah, I think I only got 1 or 2 draws off of the Perulia. Obviously, if the Perulia and the Fua had both gone through, it would have been great. My draws, though, were terrible. I'm pretty sure I show it at the end of this game. I just drew more hand traps. Like, I do end up ashing something, and then off of one of the draws I get an ash. So I'm not entirely sure what Rockets do, so I apologize not having a way. Something in there lets him rip a card from my extra deck. So he takes out the Garura in order to protect from Super Poly, which is a fine choice. I will say, I think, again, like Wiccat would have hurt more, any of the fairy tale stuff. But I also understand that it's like, okay, if you take away my Wiccat, but I'm still able to Super Poly all your stuff away, that doesn't really work out. So I think the Garura was a good choice, especially for not, he did tell me that he was like, I'm not entirely sure what your deck does. And so I think that is like the smart choice. It's like when you're not entirely sure what someone's deck does, it's probably better to just like go for like a known potential problem. So getting rid of the Garura, know what that does. Obviously can now tell that I'm running super polys. He already knew that from, I think just from playing around. Actually, you know what's funny is, so Daniel also, hangs out. He's a friend. Daniel he's a buddy, he's a pal, he's a friend. But me and him never actually play Yu-Gi-Oh against each other. It tends to be like whenever we've been in locals, because this locals did have to drive for. Daniel also drove for this locals, which is why it was also very frustrating that none of us were able to buy Chaos Origins, because 4 of us drove an hour, with the assumption that we were going to be able to get product, Daniel included. But anyway, Daniel and I, whenever we've been at locals against each other, like actual locally, like not having to drive, we never get paired up against each other. I literally said, like, when we got paired up against each other, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's finally happening. And I was actually very pleased, because I do not like getting paired up against the same people I'm playing with all the time. Like when you travel with people and then you end up getting paired against them. So I was like, Daniel, you're probably like you are the only person who also drove that I am pleased to be paired against, because I've never played you. Like we just don't. We'll hang out with each other while everyone's playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and then we just have never played each other. So he knows what my deck does by proxy, and I know what he's playing by proxy. Okay, yeah. Here is the Look at my hand, y'all. Look what I drew. I had another Perulia. I guess I should have just double Perulia'd. So that was my hand, and then ball, and then instant fusion, and then that whatever stinking trap. I hope you saw it. There was a trap he played that said I couldn't do spells. So I activated ball. Ball was going to get bounced, which means it wasn't going to resolve. I should have started with the instant fusion. You know what? I feel like this is, no one tell him. But there was a game, it's on the channel, that I played against my boyfriend where he was doing chess and Jaliki, and I did not start with the instant fusion in my hand. I didn't start with it. I did it later, and he was like, hey, I think it would have been a better play to start with the instant fusion. Go with something that you know is going to resolve. And I was like, well, there's no guarantee it was going to resolve. And in that match, I still kind of believe that I made an appropriate choice. I can be kind of hard-headed when it comes to my choices in everything in life. I can be kind of a stubborn person. It's not gonna lie. When I started with ball, and then whatever stupid trap stopped me from being able to do any spells ever happened, I was like, this is the reckoning. This is the moment where had I taken that advice about starting with instant fusion. Because instant fusion would have resolved. Normal spells will resolve even if they get bounced. I think. I don't remember if that trap said that whatever. It might not have mattered. Let me know. Would instant fusion have resolved in that situation? Anyway, so we go game 3. So I won game 1. He won game 2. This was another thing where, the ibuprofen started kicking in, because it was definitely the heat headache was rough. And then I'm pretty used to going to game 3, which I'm very proud of myself for, because there's been many a time where my goal in all tournaments is to try not to get 2-0'd. I'm fine if I 2-0 someone, but I tend to not 2-0 people. So just to be able to go to game 3, but that means like in 5 rounds, if you're going to game 3, you're playing 15 games of Yu-Gi-Oh, which for me is so hard. So my end board was not great. I ended on Teller 2 sets, but I did side in, and I got Secret Village of the Spellcaster. Hidden secret. I'm not sure if it's legal name, but yeah. I'm a Malice player. Of course, I'm going to try to do some weird floodgates. I remember what I said. So he Bistul's I believe the snow. And I was fine. I remember Leo was standing like behind us, like watching. And I let that happen. And everyone was kind of like, you're not going to tell or negate that. Even Daniel was like, huh. Okay. I had Once Upon set. Bistul's, and this has happened a couple times when I played, having your fairy tale monsters bistuled when you have Once Upon set is so great, because now instead of getting 1 monster back, I get 2. So I Match Girl and I Snow. Snow, we're going to go ahead and flip face down. Match Girl, we're going to go ahead and search. I love my shiny cards. Man, can you imagine all the other stuff I could own if I hadn't spent all this money on shiny cards? But then would it look as good? I don't know if it will look as good. Okay, so go ahead and resolve that, I'm going to go ahead and search a ball. I believe there was an effect that was used. Again, I don't really know what rockets do. I don't have the insight on what my opponent was doing. I can just tell you what I was doing. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. They're not going to be able to activate any spells. I still have the Teller negate. I had Ved set. And I realized that I couldn't. Okay, so my thing with Ved, again, is in order to activate it, you still have to meet the requirements. So I did not chain it. So the Teller ends up, I believe, just going to grave. And then at this point, when they activate an effect, I Ved to special. I'm not even entirely sure what I special Rigatoni. Rigatoni is going to let me search another Ved. So Daniel was able to do a lot without being able to do spells, but that floodgate is admittedly pretty annoying. Yeah. It's like reading it. He's like, okay. So, one thing that I thought was interesting, it happens in round 5. So we're a while from it because we're in round 2. I did Hidden Village my opponent and they're playing the new Ritual of Light and Darkness deck. So I genuinely had no idea. My mind kept getting shuffled. That's all that kept happening to me on that one. And, so they were really just trying to get rid of my spellcasters so I couldn't activate spells. Like their whole thing was just like, I'm just going to get rid of your spellcaster so you can't activate spells. Also, it was not true. They're playing the Ritual of Light and Darkness pile. Yummy, Fiendsmith, Mitsu, Ritual of Light and Darkness. It's not fair to just call it Ritual of Light and Darkness. My mind did get shuffled. But they were also playing a 60-card pile deck at midnight. So I was like, pop off, king, pop off. We'll get to round 5 when we get to round 5. Anyway, back to round 2. Turn gets passed. My goal right now is to get OTK on board. So I have Fairy Tale Ball in hand. From the earlier Match Girl search. I do end up searching another one. Game for Fairy Tale involves 4 Fairy Tale monsters. One of them has to have the equip spell on it. So what I'm looking at now is I know I have Wiccat and Grave. I can't attack directly. I don't remember the defense in order to go over with Rigatoni and Zerora. So I need to get rid of Rigatoni and Zerora to free up a space. The thing about Wiccat that's important to note, because I was making that mistake, you have to have the space on it for your board in order to... Yep. So if your board's full, you cannot Wiccat switch out. And so I was able to Wiccat switch out. And then, yeah. So I lost round 1. Won round 2, going into round 3. Okay, round 3, I immediately was like, I really like your sleeves. I thought that eggshell color was super cute. Dark Magician Girl matte, love the vibes. My opponent was like, that's so funny. People are like commenting on how they like the sleeves, and they're like apparently they're super cheap sleeves is what they were saying. They're like the bulk sleeves that you can get from like Dollar General or something. Which I did say, I was like, honestly, I might want to look into doing that because my sleeves get so crusty. Won the dice roll. So I go ahead and normal Match Girl effect to search, go ahead and Fairy Tale Ball effect to search, and I believe I got another Match Girl. I had to do this twice because then Match Girl can special summon herself if you control an 1850. I don't think there's a lock on, I don't think it has to be a different one other than Match Girl. So I did get drolled after the effect of Ball. And then I do get ashed on the Wiccat. So I go ahead and I pass. Because I'm like, okay. So my opponent go ahead. Whoa, my opponent reads my cards. And I'm explaining like, okay, Wiccat isn't going to do anything on the field. But because I have Fairy Tale Ball out, if I control a Fairy Tale monster, I can negate and rename something that is special summoned. I think my opponent was playing Pure Power Patron. I was not able to get a full read. I will say the minute I saw that scaled, I was like, oh no, if it's Doomsy. So there was a miscommunication here where I ashed the search, and I'm watching it back. Okay, I did remember this correctly. My opponent never verbalized or even pointed to what they wanted to destroy. So I asked what the card was doing, the Power Patron card, and it was like, oh, it's gonna you discard or you destroy one from like hand or field, and then it destroys itself, and then I think you can banish a card on field. But it's like you can. And I did think, I was like, well, they probably want to get rid of Ball or they want to get rid of Wiccat because then you don't have the negate and rename. They didn't say anything. And I do think there's the line between like, telling your opponent what, advising them. So this is where it comes up. They special, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to chain Ball. And they're like, how? Don't you have to control a fairy tale monster? And I was like, I have Wiccat. And they were like, I destroyed it. And I was like, is that what you wanted to do? It's like, did you want to? I always kind of feel a little awkward in those situations of they did not say that they were going to use the effect to destroy my Wiccat or my Ball, because they could have destroyed either. So I mean, I think if this was like a bigger event, right? Like I get that there's good pricing on the line. There was playmats, there was Griffos, there was stuff that like, I guess if I really wanted to be like, I could have said like, no, right? Like I think Konami legally, they didn't do the you can destroy something. I did make a deal out of it. I was like, sure, we'll say you destroyed the Wiccat. They end up passing turn anyway. And so at this point, I normal Luna, search Jania. I told you like this whole tournament was sponsored by Droll. Jania, target their monster to special. Match Girl is going to come from grave, because if you remember, I had 2 in there from earlier. My turn 1, I had already specialed Match Girl from hand, which is why I couldn't get the Match Girl back with the Wiccat. Not that necessarily would have mattered. I'm just trying to go for game because I can attack directly. I didn't realize, though, that they negated Ball permanently. I think it's with the Genora. Yeah. So I didn't realize that Fairy Tale Ball had been... if I'm being completely honest, this game was kind of a reminder of where like communication in Yu-Gi-Oh is important, because when we're relying on other people to just kind of inherently know what we're trying to do, I didn't realize, and that was also on me. I didn't read the card. I didn't ask the questions. I did not realize that Ball was going to be like perma negated. So I need to get rid so I can at least go and get some attack in. So I Luna, named the Genora Power Patron of Tuning, explain what it does. They don't have another one from extra deck, so theirs goes to extra deck, mine goes to hand. And okay. See, I added in Charmer Quartet. I did it. I listened to the people. I never got to go into links. Like now part of that, then they scooped. They drew whatever they drew and they scooped. So I won game 1. Again, you can say, I think they were playing pure Power Patron, but like based off of the amount of card knowledge I got from them, I was like, I'm not entirely sure. Is there Doom Z in there? And we just didn't have a way to get into Doom Z. Like what's happening? Anyway, yeah. So I did do link stuff in this. I never got to go into it. And this is kind of, okay, not to say that it creates a stronger end board. I really do like the Charmer Quartet. I may or may not have ordered a Starlight one because I really like it and I am planning on keeping it in the deck. But I will say my whole thing with not doing Charmer Quartet from the beginning was the fact that like it benefits you in creating a very strong end board if you go uninterrupted. I was continuously interrupted on top of the fact I didn't practice enough with it. I think I was not willing to F around and find out in the tournament about how I could possibly make Celine, make sure I have 3 spells, and then also go into Charmer Quartet. Like, it just felt risky doing it here. So I think it's twofold. I felt like I did not have many opportunities to go into Celine and Charmer Quartet because I was interrupted to such a level that I just didn't have the extra bodies. But I do realize that when you're not interrupted, you end up with enough bodies that you can do it. But I also think on the flip side, I am not comfortable playing this version of the deck yet. I haven't gotten enough practice with it, so I could also see how it was just there may have been opportunities and that I missed. Okay, so I do not think I can see what's in their hand. I am so curious though. They set 3 pass. Well, they set 2 and then they die-fi and then pass. And I was like, is this a bluff? What's happening? I normal Ash. I Jania. I actually thought I was kind of a genius here, not to toot my own horn. I'm going to make Ash a spellcaster. Okay, I'm going to special Jania. Ash is now a spellcaster, and she's a level 4 or lower spellcaster. So you know what I get to link off into? Artemis. I did have to explain this. I was like, Ash is a spellcaster now. Her big forehead has gotten spellcaster status. And now I'm like, okay, now we do Endymion. Did you know Endymion equips from Banish? Because he does. Kind of busted. I learned that. I was like, because I read it and I was like, oh, this isn't going to do anything. Like none of my stuff goes to grave. And I was like, oh, just kidding. Endymion's got his girl. And then we Crowley. I was kind of like wondering if I'd like to go for game, obviously. But I was like, do I Crowley fuse here or do I have a way to go into more like, because it's like, okay, you fuse, you get 1 monster. I don't know what I do from that point. So I end up not doing the fusion and I make chorizo. I got kind of flustered because my opponent was like, can you do that? Can you do that with the Artemis? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, why? And I was like, I don't know. It says it on the card. And then I couldn't find it. You know, when you're looking for something and it says it on the card and I couldn't find where it said monster card, but I was like, it does it. It does it. I was like, if you want to ask a judge, you can ask a judge, but like, I promise you it does it. But why couldn't I, hold on. Why did Teresa go back? I know I could do it. I do know I was capable of doing it, but I think there might have been a reason I couldn't. Oh, what happened? Okay, so for whatever reason, I don't chorizo, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if I was locked on something. Let me know if you saw it. I know that in the moment when they explained it to me, because I know for a fact I was not like, oh, you're right, I can't make chorizo because of the... Like, I know that chorizo can be made. And I know I didn't just give in to them saying, no, you can't. There was something else that must have locked me. Oh, you have to send it to grave. That's what it was. So in order to chorizo, you have to send the appropriate monster cards, I believe, to grave. I have my assistant looking up. Yeah, yes, we got a nod. That's what it was. I was die-fied. So you can send the appropriate monster cards, but you have to send them to grave. So I couldn't make chorizo. So I end up passing on that, setting 2. I do end up super polying their board. They go to shake my hand and I go, I'm sorry, I'm so sweaty. Also, I don't like handshakes. I know that looked really rude. I'm sorry, y'all. I try not to be rude, but my autistic self, I don't like touching people. And I was really sweaty, so I don't shake their hand. But yeah, so that was round 3. And at this point, I was 2-1, which I started feeling the pressure. So we're going to go back to the past me. Just finished round 3. I did try to film the first round on my nice camera, and then when I got here on my nice camera, I died. So I'm 2-1. I think I want to try to get top 8. There was 20 people, so 5 rounds. People have dropped because we're going to be here till midnight on 5 rounds. But I lost to Mitsu in game 3. I think that was I think it was the draws. I think I could have probably with better draws. Game 2, I won in game 3, I'm pretty sure, against Rockets. And then match 3, I think they were playing Pure Power Patron. Not entirely sure. Seemed like they also kind of maybe bricked. I'm not sure. 2 more rounds. And we're gonna see if I can get top 8. Would be really cool. Round 4, we're gonna go ahead and give Jeffrey a shout out. Obsidian Games, check him out on YouTube for another perspective. They were also filming during the locals, so another perspective on this Win-A-Box locals pseudo premiere event. So I end up winning the dice roll. and I get out Luna, I get out Jania, I get Drolled, and then how many times is this Wiccat going to get ashed? A lot. I think this is, if we had a ash counter, I think this is at least the second, if not the third time. Yeah, folks, ash the Wiccat. Okay, they're playing DDD. I don't know what it does, so I just ash the first thing they summon. And the response was like, well, set one pass. So, yeah, I think, like I said, a thing I learned from this tournament specifically is we kind of all died a Droll and Ash. So I have Match Girl. I'm able to special Match Girl. I go ahead and search. I believe I search. I search Tails. So the thing with the Wiccat getting stopped and then Wiccat just getting left is that you're no longer able to send Tails to grave. And I want to be able to attack directly, right? So I had to make the choice of either Ball, which is going to let me attack directly, or Tails, which is going to let me get into enough fusions to hopefully get through the one monster. So Weaver, I am going to go ahead and rename their monster. I only do the Weaver effect, don't do Snow. Once Weaver renames into Prince of Fairies, Weaver also says that all Prince of Fairies on the field are now spellcasters. So I am now able to fuse with his monster and my Snow to go into Teller. We blow up the board. He'll take 500 damage. He goes ahead and in order to have that not get blown up and take 500, he calls by the Snow. And I'm like, that's chill. That's fine. I know I just need one more monster out and this is game. And so I have 2850 off of Teller. I have 1850 off of Weaver. I have 1850 off of Match Girl. And then I am explaining, people don't seem to know that the Wiccat thing does okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know Wiccat was also the sneaky way to go for game. I learned that on Omega. Shout out to the random person that was mirror matching me in Omega who did that to me. And I was like, wait a second. Again, the only time I've ever really messed up with that is in order for Wiccat to summon itself, it summons itself and then sends to grave. So you have to have room on your board. And there have been times where my board has been full and I try to Wiccat and thinking it's sending and then summoning. Nope, it is summoning and then sending. So we go ahead and go to game 2. Jeffrey is going to go first. I mean, as you can tell, because I ashed the normal summon and then they didn't have anything else to follow up with that. I still don't know what DDD does. And I have never played against this deck, this archetype at all. I have zero idea. The only DDD card I know is Caesar. And I know that one is a rough one to try to play through. So literally as they are comboing, I'm just waiting. Honestly, my thoughts while I was playing this game is I was like, man, there's a lot more DDD stuff than I thought. I didn't realize it was such an expansive archetype. So yeah, they're going to go first. And I mean, I'm like, well, I got good luck ashing the first thing they did. So, you know, here's hoping I'm going to be able to stop what they're going to do. I'm like, let's ash that one. It doesn't do anything. So I wish I could tell you what he's doing. I don't know. I think that's the other thing where going into tournaments, you'll hear like even like pro players say, or just like, I think kind of the general, like if you want to be allegedly like really good at Yu-Gi-Oh, like the next step is knowledge. Like knowledge is power, right? Knowing to hit the Wiccat, right? Because if you ash the Match Girl, but you don't ash the like ashing the Wiccat is going to be a more powerful, like where can you try to hand trap in the most effective way possible? But you're not going to know that unless you know the deck. And so I definitely think there was, I've benefited from that where, Bistral, one of my fairy tales. And if you don't know, I have Once Upon a Time, which is just going to give me an additional summon from banishment, or that Weaver can summon from banish, just like all these things, like not knowing. I do not spend the time looking into decks. I personally don't feel like I'm at a level where that is needed. I do think if I wanted to start taking like competitive play more seriously, but at the same time, there's so many decks. That's what I really appreciated about this. My mood did improve. So at the beginning of this whole thing, I went there thinking it was going to be like an actual premiere event where I was going to be able to buy product, and not being able to buy product, figuring out that it got changed to a win-a-box, and that there wasn't even going to be entry packs. And I was appreciative that they did change it, so I wasn't paying $22 for. It was $15 for a Chaos Origins win-a-box. Top 8 was going to get pricing. Top 4 got playmats. Top 8 got Griffos. And then there was 4 more playmats to auction off. So it's like, it's still for $15. Cool, fine. What I really did enjoy, and I think what ended up helping my mood, was the fact that, as you've seen, I didn't duplicate play anything. Played Mitsu. And then played Rockets, and then played, I think, Power Patron. And then now we're getting the joy of watching Jeffrey combo off with DDD. I kept being like, wow, this is a lot, and I don't know what's happening. And I think at this point, Caesar still isn't there. But don't worry, folks, Caesar's coming, because what's a DDD deck without Caesar? And then the last round, I already gave it away earlier. It is a Ritual of Light and Darkness pile deck. So I thought that was so cool. And I honestly think there was a couple people playing Mitsu, but no one was playing like the same version. Like everyone was playing something different. It was really, really nice to see such a variation. And that's what I'm saying too. Like in terms of learning, if you want to get like super serious about competitive play, like if I wanted to like learn the decks, I don't know if I would have looked up DDD. I don't know if I would have learned Rockets. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fun thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that's where also there is a skill in just being like, okay, how can I try to best play through what is being presented to me? How can I try to read it and maybe attempt to hand trap as best as possible? If you're looking at this board and if you're like, Raina, you're not breaking through that. You're right. You're 100% right. I also do want to shout out, like, everyone that I played against there was really cool about when I was like, okay, what am I looking at? Like, I literally was like, Jeffrey, what's this board? I know what Caesar does. I know it's not limited to like once per turn or per material. Like I know that. And everyone was really cool about telling me, because that's the thing too, is like, you don't have to. If someone's like, what's your end board? You could be like, you're free to read all the cards. But luckily no one was a butthole about it and didn't, no one made me feel like dumb for asking. Everyone was really cool. Everyone explained. Oh, this is me calling over the judge and being like, I think Fairy Tale Ball goes to grave. I don't remember. I'm almost positive whatever Jeffrey has on board did not negate activation. I'm pretty sure it just negated the effect. So Fairy Tale Ball should have stayed. It wouldn't have mattered, folks. Okay, ball stays. Cool. What do? I attack with the Luna that gets sucked up. I drew the nib. That happened twice this tournament where I sided. I am siding a nib going second. And it happened twice where I top decked the nib. The 6th card was nib. And it's like, wow, you would have been really, really good to have earlier. So we end up going to game 3. And they were both kind of non-games, honestly, because game 1, Ash, the starter, and there just wasn't any follow-up for that. I also got drolled, so it's not like I could really do much either. And then game 2, just full end board combo deck, did combo deck things, and I did not have, nor did I don't know what I would have had to have in order to try to break through that. Maybe a super poly would have come in handy for that. So yeah, we go ahead, go for game 3. Siding patterns when I'm going first. I will hit in Secret Village of the Spellcaster thing, field spell, if I am not playing against Elfno. That does not do anything against Elfno. Against Ritual Light and Darkness, I think the Chaos Magician is the only spellcaster. So it's not like the best floodgate, but so I do believe going first, I did side in the Secret Village. And that'll tend to be it. I mean, I'll side out the Charmies for those. Again, my side was kind of wonky. Normal match girl. See, it's going to happen again. Match girl's going to get impermed. I'm like, that's fine. Activate match girl to special match girl. And then I'm going to get Fuad. Okay, I feel like I did a really smart read. I go, how many cards do you have in hand? I was like, okay, 3, which, you know, I could have counted, but I feel like it's kind of a power move to be like, no, you count them. How many cards? I set 2 and pass. I'm like, I'm not giving you another draw because I just saw what this deck does. So this was a risk. I don't know if it was risky. I don't know if it was smart. I made the read that people might not have had anything. So I'm not going to let you draw. And was I right or was I right? Special summon face down defense position pass. Had I given draws with that Fua, who knows what could have happened? Sometimes I think it's worth ending on a terrible board. It gets ashed again. That's at least, I should have done a counter. Oh, and I tried to summon Match Girl from Grave, and that's going to get impulsed. So there's, anyway, yeah, no, I normally wouldn't have just ended on 2 Match Girls. I did have the Super Poly though, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I have Super Poly, so I think if they try to do anything, I just Super Poly it away. So a normal Rigatoni, and then I Rigatoni search Ved. I am going to, I think I had Jenny in hand. Yeah, see, I had Jenny in hand, which is what I was holding for the Super Poly discard. Really good discard. Tails can equip itself to a fairy tale monster if it's engraved. So luckily I had Wiccat. And then I'm going to go ahead and fuse. I was debating if I wanted to get the Wiccat out of the, if I wanted to use those materials. I wanted to save the Jenny for the Super Poly because I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be left with a Super Poly on board that I can't use. Weaver is going to allow me to summon a fairy tale from deck or banishment. If you haven't read it, it will do banishment. And I'm thinking like, how do I get game? Because I could Wiccat. So right now I have 1850 times 3 damage. But I can't attack directly either. So, okay, I was going to do it anyway, but I will say this was another judge question where the judge kind of messed up. Okay, I'm asking, we go to battle. I declare an attack with Luna. Does the monster flip face up on declaration and then therefore during battle, I can chain Luna? I know I can't chain Luna during damage. Neither of us do. So we call a judge. You're going to watch. The judge comes over and flips Jeffrey's monster face up while explaining what is happening. And I immediately was like I was going to commit no matter what. Yeah. I was going to commit no matter what. But I felt like, I didn't even lean in to look at the attack, but I think I could immediately see that I had enough. I was like, and that's why I told Jeffrey, I was like, I was going to do it. I just didn't know if I could chain the quick effect. And we found out that the monster flips face up during damage step. Therefore, you cannot activate Luna because it's during damage. But I definitely was like, oh, I'm so sorry because it should not have gotten flipped up. Jeffrey draws, immediately goes, why does this happen? Or something. Made a comment about like, bricking. I mean, I get it. That was like when my first round, that's what I think I literally said. I was like, yeah, round 1, I got a turn back. I didn't die. And I drew into like a Ved. And I had a Super Poly and a Ved. And I'd already used my Garura. And I can't activate Ved unless you activate a monster effect. And I don't have a Magistus. And so he passes. I draw. I have Match Girl. This is game. Because then I'm able to, Wiccat flip in. So at this point, y'all, I am 3-1. I'm 3-1. I was shooketh because I got so nervous going into this match because I was like, ew. So we're going to forward it back to past me. Guys, I'm 3-1. I'm 3-1. There's one more round. I feel like even if I lose this round, top 8, are we gonna have a top 8 finish? At 5 rounds. Gonna stay humble. because there's still one more round. Okay, a little context as we go into the last round. It is approximately like 11 p.m. at night. I have been playing for hours. I was at table 3 the last game, and I was also at table 3 this game. So when I'm filming, I set up at just like the end of a table. So I was technically at table 10 the whole time, which I think actually was really good for me because I didn't get worried. I feel like as you're moving up, I know some people enjoy the feeling of like, oh, I'm moving up. I'm now at table 5. I'm now at table 3. I'm at table 2. Oh my gosh, I made it to table 1. I don't need anyone knowing my business. You don't need to know how I'm doing. Honestly, my boyfriend was shocked when I turned around and was like, because he had just finished playing my opponent now. So my boyfriend and my opponent now were at table 1. And they were both the undefeateds going into round 4. If you saw my box opening, then you know who won the entire tournament because a box came home. We at least got a box because my boyfriend won the whole thing. So then he remained undefeated, and then I ended up playing his opponent, and he even looked at me and was like, "What?" Because I don't think he realized we really hadn't had a lot of time to like debrief about what was happening. So when I called his last round opponent over to my table, I think he was like, wait a second, she's cooking. You know who else was cooking? Mitsu, Fiendsmith, Yummy, Ritual Light and Darkness. As soon as the pairings came up, I loudly exclaimed, I don't want to play the new stuff. To which the judge was like, didn't you just play the new stuff? Because he had thought Jeffrey was playing one of the newer, something with chess. And I said, no. And now my mind is going to get shuffled. And at this point, my mind is goop. Also should be noted, in between round 4 and round 5, I walked back to Target to go get candy in order to try to like rev myself up to get through this. So I'm sitting there, stomach full of nerd gummy clusters, mind being shuffled, while just full combo, Let me try to, I guess I can tell you some things I learned about Ritual of Light. Look, I'm playing with my deck box. I have the Karibo deck box's little hands, and we're doing a little dance. I was out of it by this point, y'all. I was like, look at me. I'm 3-1. And I think I'm making top 8 whether I win or lose. So I was also very much in the mindset of like, okay, my opponent, I think, was probably fighting for his life because had he lost to me, it would have definitely like changed. I think he still would have been top 8 too. So I'm in the mindset of like, dude, I came here, I wanted to be top 10. That's what I told people before coming to this. I was like, if there's 15 people, which is what I assumed, I was like top 10. There was 20 people, top 10 still would have been in like the top half of it. So I was like, I think I might be making top 8. I still wasn't entirely sure because of tiebreakers. I was like, if I lose, I might get pushed out of top 8, but like I would have had a positive record. At this point, the worst I'm doing in this tournament is 3-2. That's a positive record. I'll take it. So I'm just big chilling. What I learned about Ritual of Light and Darkness, you can mind shuffle even if it doesn't do anything. And I think it's the play, because you chain mind shuffle. I think there's a way to chain block with mind shuffle. The Chaos Magician is, how do I say it? Unaffected unless you're targeting it. It is the opposite of most things. So I feel like very often you'll have monsters that say they cannot be targeted. This is the opposite. The Dark Magician is the only way that card is affected is if you target. Also, didn't learn this in this match, learned it later, playing against my boyfriend's trying to build this deck, and I played Malfi. I'm practicing Malfi. And learned later that the Chaos Magician also protects your spells and traps from destruction. I wasn't playing Malfi when I learned that. I was playing Fairy Tale into him, and I Nina Rude and tried to get rid of a set. And actually, so currently as the board sits now, I can't get rid of that Mind Shuffle because it is protected from the Magician. They also have Mignon out. That looks like, is that Fiendsmith and Degumwame? That's, yeah. And something's Exit over there. That's crazy. This is all still turn 1. My biggest grief, my biggest gripe, my biggest don't play 60 card pile deck piece of advice is I was in a good mood. Okay. I was in a good mood. So I didn't get bugged. It is, I personally feel like, so infuriating to sit across from someone while they just play the longest. This is in 2 times speed. We are still on turn 1 and we are a good chunk of time into this match. You are watching someone play solitaire. And I've seen it happen with 60 card piles. You are asking to double loss. Like, you either need to make sure that you're going to be able to move at a pace. And no shade to my opponent. He was moving as fast as he could. Like, I did not feel, there was one point where I was like, okay, like you're big thinking. But also, I was in a good mood. I was going to be 3-2 no matter what. I didn't really care. But if I'm not in a good mood and if it's going to actually matter, I don't want to sit across from you while you're doing your 12-minute combo. You either beat me in 2 or I will double loss, because I'm like, that is, it takes so much time. It takes so much time. Also, really nice guy, because I was going to super poly, and this is where I learned that super poly isn't going to target it. And, it was sweet, because it's like, before you reveal more of your hand, right? And I'm thinking like, oh, sir, I'm not breaking through this board. Like, I think that's so sweet that, like, he's practicing going for nats. The hand shuffling watching this back is crazy. I feel like that's how you can tell, like he's a gamer. Like, the hand shuffling is such a telltale sign of, like, this person be playing some games. And the champion riftbound mat, so you can also tell. But that is I didn't even notice. Watching him back in 2 times speed is quite the thing. Yeah, it was really sweet, and was like, before you reveal more of your hand, like, you can't super poly my stuff. And I was like, I just played it off. I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to reveal too much information to you, because I also too, like, you could show me your whole hand at the beginning of a turn. I don't think it would make a difference for where I am now. Like, if I see a hand trap, I could maybe, like, I could be like, okay, I want to try to play around roll. But, like, in general, if it's engine and I don't know what your deck does, it's not going to matter. So I do end up match girling, and I am able to super poly. This might have been illegal. Oh, no, because they did mind shuffle. Because Match Girl doesn't target to name an effect monster. But I don't think I super polyed away their guy. Oh, yeah, because then they can also just chain Mind Shuffle. I think everything kept going back to hand. So this is a Black Luster Soldier, I believe, that he has Mind Shuffled into, and that's going to allow you to banish. And I'm like, I'm going to negate and destroy. And it's unaffected. Unaffected unless you target it. Teller does not target to negate and destroy. Yeah, this is me leaning in to be like, girl, you don't target to negate and destroy? Nope, you just chain, negate, and destroy. So I just, I look at Teller and I say, why are you a bad card? And then I put her in banishment. And I activate Ball. We're going to Mind Shuffle. Mind Shuffle. Obviously, I didn't super poly away the Black Magician Chaos Origins, the third guy, because look, he's still there. And we're shuffling. Our minds are being shuffled. I search Luna. And I stare at my hand. I normal Luna, Mind Shuffle, and we get you just can Mind Shuffle on every chain. Maybe that's the play, because my mind did get confused, because I was like, what are we doing? That's the crazy thing too, is you can Luna name something and it's like Mind Shuffle. So I search Snow, because like I already Jania'd. I can attack directly for 1850, but I'm looking at my extra deck. I know I can only go into Artemis. I don't know why I do this. I look at my extra deck, just like maybe a new card is going to magically populate there. That hand shuffling is crazy to watch in 2 times speed. I did not even really notice that they were doing that to the level that they were doing that until I'm watching this back, and I was like, that's a gamer. That's a card gamer. I passed the turn. How did Jania get herself back? Oh, I think maybe it was just banished till end phase. Oh, because it was S speed. Yeah. We pass. And then I don't know if I'm giving away what the ending of this match is going to be, but this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with knowledge. I had been told to ash the Mind Shuffle. I didn't have the ash for the Mind Shuffle. Other than ash the Mind Shuffle, I don't know what this stuff does. And especially when it's a 60 card pile. So I do end up ball to negate the Murakumo, to which it gets Mind Shuffled. So yeah, I think even if I had more knowledge of what this deck is going to do, pile decks are really infuriating to play against because there's just like so much that you have to like. You're going to see it in game 2 where my opponent is able to just keep utilizing the same known cards over and over and over. And I kept being like, you still have 4 cards in hand? Or like, it was like, I was shooketh because I was like, I am not. That's the thing with pile decks is, okay, you stop one engine. And if you're playing the pile deck optimally, you are trying to keep your opponent dealing with one engine for long enough that you have enough cards in your hand to get another engine going, and you should have bridges between your engines. So what ends up happening in this next game, I do opt to go first, but as they're trying to go into my board and I'm trying to figure out where to interact, they are able to stay on one engine for so long that I'm like, okay, so I stop this. I don't know what the bridge is. I don't think the bridge is on board. I don't think if I stop you here, you have 4 cards in hand. So now you can Mitsu. Now you can Fiendsmith. Now you can Ritual of Light and Darkness. Now you can Yummy. Now you can, there's just, it was a lot. So we go game 2. I'm going to go first. Even my longest combo is not going to be the combo of a 60 card. I never shuffle my opponent's deck when I cut. That was such a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. So coming from Magic, when I would play against Magic players who also played Yu-Gi-Oh, they would just say like, oh, that's just what you do. You shuffle. And I always was like, I mean, it feels a little abrasive to just pick up someone's deck and start shuffling it. And I felt that way because I'm terrible at shuffling. Look, I played around roll. Well, kind of. Spenta, add Crowley special. I'm terrible at shuffling. I'll mess up your cards, so I never actually shuffle them. But it's always interesting to watch who shuffles your deck when they're cutting and who just cuts it. I just cut it because I'll jack up your cards. I'm not good at shuffling. Okay. And then he was like, "Is that a Starlight Spenta?" And I was like, "It is a Starlight Spenta." So now we're gonna normal match girl. So like I said, this does play around roll. It's not the best way to play around roll because I'm still going into a choke point. We got to do it. You got to do it. So we're going to go into Wiccat. Wiccat is going to resolve. So I was like, oh, okay, we made it past this. Though I will say it's not as bad of a choke point because I had Match Girl, and Match Girl is going to be able to summon herself from the grave. So we equip, we summon. I had sent Once Upon and set, so it was a known. So I was like, okay, let me let you read what Once Upon is going to do. For siding, I did go into Secret Village, and this is what I mentioned earlier, is that I think one way to play into Secret Village is just get rid of your opponent's spellcasters, especially if they have stuff set. So I had a spell set, I had Once Upon set, but I won't be able to activate it unless I have a spellcaster. So I have Weaver, I have Luna, I had sent the Tails off of I sent Tails and Once Upon off of the Wiccat because I already had Match Girl and Grave. And so then I end with Secret Village. And that was a crazy card spin. Did y'all just see that? After he drew and he just like spun it around. Oh my gosh. Dexterity on 100. I could never. I'm watching this with my, like, I can barely snap. I can't even, if you throw something at me, there's not even a good chance I'm going to be able to catch it. Like the dexterity of this is like insane to me. Okay, so here's what I'm saying. They immediately go into the Yummy engine. They attempt to special Marshmallow. They Marshmallow into Snatchy. I Luna the Snatchy because I know they play one of. They have a Marshmallow that they end up normaling, and then they can go back into Snatchy. So Mignon allowed them to, I believe Mignon, that is Mignon, right? So I was going to let them, yep, special, back from grave. I should have waited for them to activate the Mignon before I Luna'd. Because Mignon is once per turn. That would have done something. Because then they couldn't have gone into, then they couldn't have gone into Cup C. Okay, well, I caught where I messed up. Next time. So then they're just in this engine. And so I once upon, Luna is not a hard once per turn. She's a soft once per turn. So I once upon, I go ahead and get my match girl. I get my Luna. I believe I do negate and rename the Snatchy, I think. It's not going to matter. It's already done what it needed to do. And that's what I was really realizing is I was like, well, we've already done what we needed to do. And they still have, I think, look how many cards they have in hand. I think they have 4 cards in hand. That's what I'm saying. I was like, what? Like, okay, so I stop you from doing yummy stuff, but you probably still have so many cards in hand. Also, to my credit, my brain was just shuffled. And I'm running off of Nerds Gummy Clusters. I get the feeling that they're trying to, so I search ball off the match girl. They're trying to have it so I don't have it. I don't think Secret Village sees spellcasters if they're face down. I'm almost positive you have to controlling the spellcaster to activate your spells means they have to be face up. So I realize that if my stuff gets flipped face down, all it takes is 1 cookie pop and I'm not going to be able to activate my set card. So maybe that wasn't their plan. Maybe I got in my head about the Secret Village and being worried about like locking myself. But at this point, I have 1 spellcaster, and I know what Cookie does. I played ball. I played Yummy. I yummied at one point. They still are only in Yummy Engine. All of this is just, yep, see, and there's the Cookie. We're going to lower it by 1,000. And I'm even thinking if they go battle, which they easily just could go battle and be over the match girl because of Mignon, they're all gaining 500. What am I going to do? I can't activate my spell. Not sure if because what did I have? I believe it is a crown that I have set, which will half attack. So yeah, they decide to go battle. I see what they're doing. They're trying to get rid of my spellcaster so they can activate their spells. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to, it's a droplets. So I droplets. I send the super poly from hand, which I think super poly was the only thing I had in, oh no, I did have another one. Why didn't I set super poly? Oh, because I didn't have ball. I didn't think through the match girl. I also realized that I don't know if I'm questioning my choices. I send the Hidden Village to have 2 of them. We have to do some math on this because it's going to have because Mignon is adding. So I believe Mignon adds everything and then we half it. I did not want to send my monsters because I didn't want to die. And I knew that once Match Girl was gone, the Secret Village of the Spellcaster was just going to cause me issue. But I had ball in hand. So I really think what I should have done is droplets and just send the super poly. And maybe the other, we'll see, I couldn't send ball. I mean, I think I live because of the halves. I think I had to send 2. If I had only sent 1, someone wants to do the math real quick for me. If I had only sent 1, I don't think I would have lived. So I think I had to send 2. I didn't want to send any of my monsters because that's why I lived, because I had 2 in defense. If I sent the ball and the super poly, I guess I should have set super poly, knowing that if once upon, like trusting if once upon had gone through, I could have added the ball, discarded it, and I could have super polyed away their stuff. I mean, they're all light beasts. That would have been so easy to do. So what we're about to witness is 60 card pile combo. I have a fairy tale ball in hand. I could have just scooped it up. I'm not planning on winning. But I'm like, you know what? We're here. There's time on the clock. He wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm okay sitting here for the next 5 minutes. Double time speed. Okay, to let you know, because obviously it's in double time speed, these 2 games, and you saw how much like I did, right? So we can do like it's like an NFL game where it's like time having the ball. Who was on the play? This was, I believe, a 40-minute video originally. 40 to 45 minutes for 2 games. Most of that time was not me. Can you tell I don't like 60 card pile decks? I mean, I understand. I get why they're good. I really think they struggle to the fact that you're going to piss off your opponent and you better make sure you win in 2. Because if I wanted to, like, I could have taken it to 50 minutes and been like, I mean, I'm not conceding. Could have double lost us. But I'm not that type of, well, I am that type of person. I would if it wasn't the last round and I obviously was going to lose. Like, it was very, I don't like doing that if there's not, like, some type of argument I could make for, like, maybe. No, this was not going to, I even told him this. I was like, you know what? You pop off. You know what I have. I have a fairy tale ball. So I'm just going to let you, I'm going to let you combo. Can't speak to what's happening. Oh, they're SB banishing something. I guess I can speak to that. I'm like, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want to get rid of? Get rid of the Spenta. Because Spenta's going to allow me to equip. I mean, I don't know what I would have done. I guess if I drew something crazy. And I think I even say that. I go, well, maybe if I draw the Super Poly. But I already. So, look, I guess what I can speak to is I should have waited for them to mignon before I chained the Luna on the Snatchy. I guess I'd have to read Mignon. I'm not sure if you have to control. Because Snatchy would go back. And then I don't know if Mignon could resolve, actually, if you no longer control the Link 1. I'd have to read it. I also should have set Super Poly. I should have thought through the fact that Once Upon was going to allow me to get Match Girl back. And then Match Girl was going to allow me to search. And then I could have discarded off of Super Poly. I didn't. But you know what? It's fine. Because I still went 3-2. And I got 6th place, guys. I got 6th place. Okay, we're home. That was 5 rounds. I got 6th place, and where's my baby? I won. My son gripped the. And then I probably overpaid. I impulse bought from someone. Starlight. Also won packs. So was definitely was sad I couldn't spend money. I wanted to buy a lot of Chaos Origins. And but they did do prizing with Chaos Origins. So I don't know how many packs I got. I just ripped them. I didn't pull anything good. But I got, I think, like 6 packs or something because I got 6th. And then they offered, if anyone, they had enough for people if they wanted to buy 6 more packs. So I bought more packs. Nothing of importance to note of that. But yeah, it was super fun. And a mat came home. Where is the mat?
In my backpack.
In the backpack. It'll get hung up on the wall. The mat, by proxy, I want the mat. You know.
Getting hung up.
It's the mat will get hung up. And because Undefeated won the mat. Undefeated won the mat. Won a box of Chaos Origins that we can. Oh, so that's tough. I know it's too much. Camera, he doesn't want the fame, y'all. He just wants the glory. So we got a mat and we got a box to open, and and I got 6th, and I got a baby. I got Griffo. Secret? Is it a secret rare Griffo?
Yeah.
Okay. It's almost 1 a.m. So happy Chaos Origins.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, bye. Yeah.